One. Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to today's show. All right, today you have your host, man Tank, and myself, and we have some very great questions. I want to apologize. Our two co-hosts are busy right now. Everyone knows Savannah. She is an entrepreneur, and right now it's her season. Well, she does business year round, but this is a time where everybody's pledging and having different events. So she's a vendor. So if you're looking for any type of paraphernalia, please look her up. And her organization, her business is called Need Nelia. And our other host, Shar, her daughter is a track star at LSU, and they are competing right now at the University of Florida. So that's where she is. We're going to get started. Tank, you ready? Are you here, Tank?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Let's see. We have a few questions sent in. The first question comes from Flo. She says, how often do men communicate clearly to women what their sexual needs, preferences are? Or how can a woman bring up this subject without it feeling like an attack on their manhood? I know you're a little busy, Tank. Whenever you're ready to chime in, please do. I'm going to repeat that question again for our listeners. The question was, how often do men communicate clearly to women what their sexual needs / preferences are? Or how can a woman bring up this subject without it feeling like an attack on their manhood? So I'm going to address the first question as best as possible. So how often do men communicate clearly to women what their sexual needs and preferences are? I think that, and hello, Flo, we're addressing your question first. I see that you joined us. I think that this question is actually driven by that particular woman. She has a lot of influence on this because some women, I don't want to call it a show, but people put their best foot forward when they enter relationships. And for a lot of women, sex talk is taboo. It's forbidden. So if a man talks about sex too soon, it's received like, oh, that's all you want. And why are you talking about sex? You haven't even gotten to know me yet. You don't know my zodiac sign or my middle name, blah, blah, blah. And you're talking about sex. So in a lot of cases, men will allow women to control or dictate when you enter that realm. So how often, I think once we do get to that space, I think it occurs like consistently. But again, I think the woman typically controls that flow because men don't want to appear as a turn off. They don't want to look like they're too thirsty or perverted. So it's like an opportunity may present itself when you can talk about that. Now, if you meet someone in a situation where, okay, someone hooked you up with this person, you know what your reputation is. Your friend knows what your reputation is. And it's like, yo, I'm hooking you up with somebody just to get with, right? Have a little fun with, then those conversations will happen a lot sooner. And I think it comes down to a certain level of maturity to say, hey, this is what I like. These are the things that I need. I prefer sex daily, 3 times a day, once or twice a week, whatever it is, saying, hey, what turns you on, what positions, etc. And, things like that. I don't want to go too in depth because we are still a PG show, but just preferences, what I like, what I dislike. Once you cross that line, and this is a preference. And remember, a preference is typically long term, if not permanent. I'm going to repeat what we've discussed so far. So for Deborah and Terry, our host, I'm addressing a question sent in asking how often do men communicate clearly to women what their sexual needs and preferences are. And so far, I'm talking about how women kind of dictate and control that when part of when you discuss sex in a relationship. But like I said, a preference is typically long-term or permanent. So once I discuss a preference, we really don't have to discuss that again because those preferences rarely change unless a man has another sexual encounter. Having sex with someone else, watching some type of porn and seeing something, or just curiosity being brought up by discourse with another guy, man, this girl did such and such to me. Oh, that thing felt, oh man. So now I wouldn't say it's a preference, but they spark some curiosity. So they may communicate that. The type of, how can I put this? The climate that you've established in your relationship will determine whether or not he feels comfortable telling you, hey man, my boy talked about such and such, and now it's something that, I think we could try. And the second part is, how can a woman bring up this subject without it feeling like an attack on their manhood? And Flo, I want a little clarity on this. When you say, how can a woman bring up this subject without it feeling like an attack on their manhood, are you referring to a woman bringing up like her preferences, her sexual preferences?
Good evening. This will be my only time talking because I'm going to pass the mic to my husband when it's time.
Oh,
But yes, my clarity, so for that question, if a female or a woman were to just have a basic conversation with a man about what her preferences are or what he can do to please her, sometimes that can be taken as an attack, or the guy may feel like he's inadequate or he may have done something wrong. And I'm finding, just from talking with different people, that these are conversations that people really don't have outside of the moment. So it's like, yeah, you talk about it like, in text here and there, but like a real thorough conversation of, hey, this is what I like, this is what I need, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people never have that conversation, and they spend years and years and years, being busy, but they're never fulfilled.
That's a great point. Personally, I'm very transparent. And I don't like playing games when it comes to things like that because I know how important that is to a relationship, right? So in all instances, as far back as I can remember, I've always been the person to ask someone what they like, what do they prefer. I knew then that a lot of people have not really engaged in that type of courageous conversation because it kind of took them off guard. They're like, oh, you're blunt, you're straightforward. But that's the only way to know is to ask. And you can't make assumptions because what someone else liked doesn't mean that this person will like. So, I agree that conversation should be had. But as far as when, I cannot speak for others. I could just like talk for myself. Tank, Terry, what do you guys have to say about this? Go ahead.
Cool, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
All right. Sorry about that, man. I just got wrapped up in football practice. So I'm still trying to catch up on some of everything that's been said so far. But as far, I forgot what the question was now. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Flo, go ahead. What was your question?
Brown sugar.
Hold on. Let's see. You asked the question. I got to pull it up again because you kind of blended both of my questions.
Yeah.
You might
The
have.
question talked about men communicating their sexual preferences to women.
Mm-hmm.
And why,
Mm-hmm.
and why, please don't start.
I was just gonna say I don't even like that. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Why, if a woman brings it up or gives feedback, sometimes it's taken offensively or it's taken as an attack.
Okay. First of all, ladies, when you first have your first time being intimate with your man, you should be paying more attention to his responses, his reactions, and trying to learn or know more about your man, what he's into. If he seems like he's a wild man, I'm pretty sure you come to him and tell him what your preferences are, he will oblige you. But for those men that are the ones that would normally feel attacked are the men that are not as sexual as most or others. Anybody understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying, Kushan or
I'm with
Flo?
you. I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if he is a sexual guy, a sexual being, then he's open to just about anything. He's probably open to experimenting. Uh, Most men only gonna go but so far, but most of them are open to experimenting. And like I said, the ones that are basic, those are the ones. So you have, after having your first intercourse with your man, you have to know who he is. So, you may be in a dating stage, you may be, just trying to get to know someone, you have that first intercourse, then at that point, you should be able to tell what type of man you're dealing with. At that point, you can choose to continue the relationship or you can choose to have that conversation. But, you know, what you get is what you're going to get. All men don't feel attacked. I would actually prefer my woman to tell me what she wants or,
Right.
what her preferences are. Hell, it actually turns me on when she tells me what it is. But if she's not communicating that, then I cannot fulfill her. I try to pull it out of her, but if she doesn't relay it to me, there's nothing I could do about it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Hey, Tavana, again, I spoke to them, TT, and told them we apologize. Tavana is very busy, you all. And again, giving her a shout out. If you're looking for any type paraphernalia for yourself or anyone, please hit her up at Need Nedia. TT, type your link to your website and page and everything. But this is a great follow up. Tavana says, shouldn't the preferences be discussed well before the act happens? So I addressed that, Tavon, in my answer. I am that person, right? I believe in asking, but some women, they have that image to portray like, oh, we can't talk about that, or, they
Right.
want to look a certain way, or we haven't gotten to that point yet. But I'm like,
Right.
hey, what do you like? What do you dislike? Because the only thing that men have to go by will be past experiences. And once you've dealt with different people, it doesn't have to be a lot. It could just be two different people. And that's enough for you to realize that people like completely different things. You know, what excites one person might be a complete turnoff to another. And ladies, that could go both ways, with men. Some things that men may say is a requirement or they must do X, Y, Z. Some men are like, no, I'm good on that. It's not that important. But Tavana, you're on our side of the aisle with that.
Yeah, cool. But that's why I say after the first time having, intercourse or having sex with, your man, your mate, you know, because if you have those conversations before you get to that point, most women run away or shun away from that man because they feel like
That's all he
he's
wants.
pressing the issue too early and that's all he wants.
Correct.
So you have to be cautious of your timing depending on who you're talking to. Like I said, if the woman, she relates to the man, it's kind of okay to just have this conversation, then he'll go for it. But if you don't say anything, he's going to be kind of laid back, kind of standoffish, like, okay, I'm going to wait until she says something. And if she never says anything, I'm not going to say anything either. But if we actually become intimate, then, at that point, she needs to figure out more. She needs to open up and be like, hey, well, that was okay, but I think it could be better. Or, this is something that I like and I'd like you to do it, or I like to express it or experience it with you. And the man is he's more subjected to, he's going to take it in a better light. This is something I want and I would like to experience it with you.
Mm.
That's my opinion.
I want to piggyback on some points that you made. And Tavana said, if you have to be cautious, you shouldn't be with that person. But Tavana, again, we would love to, encounter women that feel and think that way. But from prior experiences, it's like if you talk about that too soon, now
There's that fear factor again too, Cole. That's what we was talking about.
because it's like, oh no, you're talking about that too soon and you barely know me and you're talking about sex and women, again, this is why this communication is important. A lot of them get into these groups. Oh, he's already doing XYZ. He already asked XYZ, but they'll also say, oh, I stopped dealing with this guy because girl, you wouldn't believe we had sex and he didn't even do this or he did that. But if you never communicated your preferences to him and he's not a mind reader, all he's going to do is do what worked with someone else. And, you know, we're all unique. So that is very, very, very important as far as communicating. I want to, address another question that we had. I'm trying to go back to this again. Thank you, Flo, for that. Where was okay, this next question, guys. So why do men wait until the woman is checked out mentally and physically to want to get themselves together? Why do men wait until the woman is checked out mentally and physically to want to get it together? Who wants
I
to
got a quick response.
go ahead, Tank?
I got a quick response. Cause we feel like we always got time. We feel like she gonna be there. We got time to change. We got time to do X, Y, Z. We procrastinate. It's in our nature.
Hmm. Tank said he's procrastinating. Who else wants to give a stab at this one? Why do men wait until the woman is checked out mentally and physically to want to get it together? See, Tavana, you're in my head. I'm going to read Tavana's response.
That's a real answer too.
Tavana says because she has allowed it to get to that point because she hasn't given any boundaries or consequences. So I want to answer Damon, Terry. If you all have something to say, please chime in. You know, the floor is yours. But my response is that you're saying wait until the woman is checked out mentally and physically, but physically a man might be able to detect, but he doesn't even know that you're checked out because a lot of times you don't openly communicate that, right? And especially when women are checked out and dealing with someone else, because now your space is now taken up by lies, right? So when you're checked out, but you're interacting with another man, now is, oh, I'm going to do this at the church, or I'm headed to do this with my girlfriend, or I have to work late, or we have this conference I have to go to when you're meeting whomever. So he doesn't even know that you're checked out until he finds out, because things happen in relationships, marriages, situations, whatever. And unless that is communicated, sometimes it goes over his head. A man does not know, you know, it's like, oh, you don't pay me any attention anymore, or you're not doing X, Y, Z. Things that you think should be obvious. In a lot of instances, it's not obvious to the guy. And again, back to what Tavana said, if you've allowed it to go on for 2 years, why would he think that something will change at 2 years and 2 months? Like just using logic. If you've allowed him to, whatever it is that you finally got tired of and checked out from, if you allowed him to stop taking you on dates, if you've allowed him to spend more time on the sofa watching games than laying in the bed with you, if you've allowed him to eat on the go and not at the table with you, you've allowed him to spend every Saturday having drinks with the fellows after cleaning his car, you know, and whatever these things I hear women talk about, if you've allowed it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, however long, what makes him think that tomorrow's going to be the day? So that's my follow up. You know, well, why would he think that, you know, my day is coming? Like, she's going to be tired of this, because that's all he's seen. And you continue to have sex with him. You continue to do certain things, because a lot of times when women check out mentally, they're attracted to someone else, or they're spending time with someone else getting those phone calls on the way to work or after work, or they're sneaking out the house to chat with this person. but you're still coming in the house acting like, hey, it's all good. So there's no way for him to know that you fully checked out, you know? And I'm addressing these comments. So not all women will move on to another man just because they're checked out. I agree with that, Deborah. I'm just
So,
giving a scenario. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
like you said, and we're totally different. Like a woman can check out and still do carry on life as regular with us. Versus when a man checks out, it shows 100% because all his actions change.
Right. Yeah, women are better actors in my opinion. And okay, Nikki made a good point. What happens when you tell them, hey, this is the last straw? If you give a fair warning, again,
How many last straws do we know?
that's what I was about to say. How many last straws have you had? And this, I'm going to use that, Nikki, as a segue to another question that we received from one of our patrons. And she wanted to know, why do men think that sex is a form of communication? Why do men think that sex is a form of communication? That's a loaded question. Now, the women, all right, saying it is, and it is, and here's the thing. And we talked about this before, after she sent the question and we spoke one-on-one. And I'm going to share some of the things that we talked about. I think that it is a form of communication, but I think that women use it more than men. Like, women think that sex is the ultimate apology. Women think that sex is a gift. And that, and like Tavana said, all the women said, it is a form of communication. So again, I'll say this to Nikki. If you're telling him, hey, I'm getting tired of this, we need to do such and such. Hey, you haven't taken me out since I don't know when. I don't like the way this is going. We don't spend enough time, whatever. But then, because you may be upset with him as a person, but you still enjoy having sex with him and that's your significant other. But to men, when you come home and you put it on them, you might only have one level when it comes to sex or the bedroom. And that might be level 10. So when you give it to him, he feels like it's all good. That last straw she was talking about doesn't exist anymore. You know, someone said, why do they think that sex is an apology and then go back to the same crap? Oh man, when I was completely done, it was no more sex. So that's what we talked about, with women checking out emotionally and physically. But at that point, that's when the man realizes that, you know what? Hey, I'm out of lives right now. I'm out. This is it. So, I think that if you're a person that's clear and direct, not just with your spouse, because we monitor each other. We see how you interact with your friends, with your family and others, to kind of know what your character is like. So if I've noticed that, you know what, man, her first cousin crossed her one time and she ain't talked to her for a year, then I know how serious it is to you, you know. But there's something that's convincing him or motivating him to make him think that he has another chance. Damon, I see that you're clocked in. What do you have to say, sir? And this is first Sarge Damon, so I can distinguish.
Hey man, I just want to say one thing. I want to say that the audio and video has to match, and it has to be consistent. That's it. Any inconsistency is just like raising kids. If you show them inconsistency, they really don't know if you mean it or not. So audio and video has to match, and you got to be consistent.
Okay. Anyone else?
Well, like I said before, sometimes we don't even realize we messed up until it's too late because a lot of times women expect us to read their minds. Why don't you tell us when we do something? A lot of times y'all don't tell us until it's the last straw.
Right. That's a good point. And especially if it could be like, sometimes they could think something's going on and it's not, you know. But I agree, Jermaine, that if it's not and this all ties back to communication. If you don't communicate it, then hey, that's what it is, man. Like
And most,
Can
and
I
most of the
interject?
time, sure.
So I'm hearing everybody, right? But in a situation, in reality, not all women are just gonna sit back and let things get to the point where they're at their last straw and they haven't already made or communicated to their partner that there is an issue in a certain space or place in this relationship, right? And in the moments where they are communicating, whether or not you're hearing her or taking her seriously or whatever have you, why you don't make any necessary changes, right? When she then gets to that last straw, and again, she's gonna check out physically a lot of times before she checks out emotionally, or emotionally before physically, whatever, however you see it. But if it's being communicated to you and you're still not taking the steps to make any type of real changes in that, in what she's communicating to you, and then that last straw comes, then where does that accountability come in at? Because
That's
it's
on
not
us.
always a woman isn't communicating. That's not always the case.
That's on us. If you communicated it to him, you've done your job. Now, whether what he does with it is the ball's in his court. Then he can do hey or nay. All I'm saying is, don't wait until you already done checked out to then give the warning. When really that's just a warning. You already out the door.
Right.
Can I chime in?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I was having some technical difficulties over here, so I missed a lot of that. But I will say this: when a woman communicates to a man that this is their last chance, their last warning, and they keep giving warnings after warnings, and the he's not receiving it and he's not changing, 9 times out of 10, he's already checked out. So being that he's already checked out, and then you check out as the woman, you check out, it's not your fault. And they decide to try to get things right. They want to try to get their things together mentally or physically or whatever the problem was. They try to get right at that point, but you caught them at a bad time. And that's why they try to get right.
Mm. These comments, man, I wish the callers could see. So these comments are, I want to go back through. Tavana, starting here, says, okay, I'll go above. Nikki stated, when I was completely done, it was no more sex. And that's a sign right there. Once it gets to that point, hey, it's time to part ways, once that ends. In my younger days, that was it. But as an adult or in marriage, I think my mindset was different because, I'm thinking, okay, now if you're married to a person, you have children, I think about terminal illnesses, accidents, things that can happen. Women can have surgeries, right? Certain things can happen that may cause you to go a long period of time without having sex. So mentally, that aspect is not as important. And if you're with someone that you love, you can spend time with them and, be pleased with their presence. But when a person says, okay, if you're having sex consistently, you stop, all right, something has happened. Now, Tavana, and this is for the listeners that are just listening to the show live. Some women aren't going to stop having sex because you did something wrong. That's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. And I've seen that too. Tavana.
We're simple creatures though. As long as you're giving us sex, we can think everything is good. Like
Right.
you got to give women credit for something.
I was headed to next. And Ms. Jackson said they are communicating. You all call it nagging, but it comes down to your type of communication. How do you communicate it? And thank you, Evan. Today's late, but we're making some really good points. And the accountability is on her. If you said it, you gave him a last straw and a last straw and over, you're a joke at that point. I wouldn't be that harsh to say a joke, but the guy kind of thinks that, you know what, she's not going anywhere. She's mad. She's saying and doing what an angry girlfriend, wife, side chick, whatever baby should do, but she's really not going anywhere. And Deborah asked, where's his responsibility to leave once he is checked out? But Deborah, I would say, how does it benefit him to leave? Because, he might think
So
that
he,
things.
so
it can work
I'm
itself
sorry.
out, or he might feel like he can both options.
So I mean, we're not talking about benefits here, right? We're talking about, I mean, and I understand where a man can think it doesn't benefit him to leave, but the same responsibility that I hear you guys putting on a woman, right?
No,
To
we didn't say
remove herself from a situation
the men didn't say
because she is checking out of it. A man should have that same responsibility, baby. When you have checked out of this relationship, don't remain here.
Yeah, but there's no incentive for us to leave.
right.
But it is, because where's your
No, it's
standards
not.
for yourself?
If you're married,
It
there's
is.
no incentive for us to leave.
You're trying to.
Where's your standards for
He has his
yourself?
standards, Deborah. You're trying to impose your standards on him. His standards
I'm
tell
not.
him something different. So his standards won't match what you think they should be. So he's saying, like other guys have said on this, it doesn't benefit him. Why would he leave? If he's with someone that he loves, he enjoys, right?
Okay. I get what you're saying with the
But now
benefit. Okay. I get
Yeah,
it.
the risk,
entertaining
the
something
I
risk
get
not
else.
it.
worth
I
it.
get it.
Why is he going to leave? He could really love you. And this is the thing that is kind of comical, right? I see women posting and sharing and commenting about, oh, he's so lovey-dovey on Facebook, but he was just at my house, or he was just blah, blah, blah. That does not mean that man does not love his family and his wife and his life. It just means that you are an additional option. That's it. Nothing more. But women feel like a man stopped by their house for 10 minutes, broke a sweat, pat on the butt twice, got something to eat on the way out the door, and promised the next visit that he does not love his family. He's not obligated to his family. Those things are completely separate. They need to take a low logic course and learn what mutually exclusive is. And for him, he's not going to stop for no reason. I mean, why would he? How does it benefit him to stop if he's not being caught? And yes, he can love you and his family. And I tell people all the time, you
So,
love multiple family members. Your capacity to love extends beyond one person. It's up.
Say it again, Coach Sean.
Yeah, you
so
Say it
okay,
again,
so
Coach
let me
Sean.
get this.
And that,
Let me
and as a man,
understand this.
it's
Y'all are
worth the
not.
risk for us. It's worth the risk for
So
us.
y'all are speaking about someone outside of his family, not the woman that he's in this family with.
a man has a capacity to love multiple people, be in love. And he has that ability to do that. I'm not saying that all men choose to, but he has the capacity to. And I realized that at a young age, like as a teenager, I'm talking about I was literally in love with 5 people at the same time. In love. I was on the
That's awesome.
telephone. They all my girlfriends, upset if
Hitting
they
the
talked to
button,
someone
Coach
else.
Sean.
Huh?
You hitting the button.
Yeah, I loved them. And I realized at that point that, man,
Yep.
I can really love more than one person. Like this is something that's not abnormal. So then I started questioning, are we even supposed to be with one person? Or is this something
Well, as
that
men, we're designed.
we created
As
here?
men, we're designed to love multiple people.
Yeah, I'm like,
Here we go.
yeah.
And here we go. Why?
Hey, the
For
greatest man in the Bible had multiple wives.
for the women that we meet, so men put themselves into a single woman category. They won't, because they love this woman, and this woman says, "Hey, I want you for myself." Then they tend to try to stay with that woman. So everything else that they do, they just kind of do on the side or do on a sneak tip. You understand what I'm saying? So if that woman wasn't that woman to say, "Hey, I want you just to myself," that man would actually be himself.
And right. That monogamy is taught. It's taught. And I think that men do it more so to satisfy. That's why men propose to women, right?
But does
Like,
anybody want to accept the truth? The fact is, men are not designed to be monogamous. That's the problem.
Hold
We
on.
may learn to do it.
Humans aren't designed to be monogamous.
Like I said, that's why we can make kids until we close our eyes, because that's just what we do. Like I said, we're primal in nature. We don't want to admit that sometimes, but it's the truth.
I agree. We getting some good. Oh, we have this bots block. I'm gonna have to. Let's see. We have a follow up. We're talking about the communication, and someone says that it's been communicated several times, and he would say sorry, won't happen again. She forgives him, and then it happens again. Not immediately, but over time, he messes up. And I think what makes that part of it a little more challenging is if a man messes up, right, he does right. And when you're young in a relationship, he does the right thing. But this guy, the relationship gets better. You do certain things. You may even have kids now, right? Or you're in that good phase. You bought a house, you got a car. That complicates it even more. So when he messes up, it was one thing to walk away from a boyfriend, but now I'm walking away from a husband, the father of my children. Like we have things going on right now. It just makes it different. I'm trying to get Tavana back in. Deborah said bye.
You want me to get off the call so that you can get Savannah back in?
I'd appreciate it, please, because you're still in.
I'll do that, and if a spot open back up, I'll come back in.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know. Maybe you could exit me out. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, 1 second.
But before you exit me out, yes.
Oh man, I was already. No, that was the timing of it because I was delayed. All right, Tavana, you're on, and you also
Hey y'all.
welcome.
Thank you. Welcome. Hey everybody. Y'all know I wasn't on last week because I was traveling and things like that. So y'all forgive me. But see, I was gonna be quiet this week, but Jermaine then made me sit up. So Jermaine, sweetheart, I hope I'm gonna ask you because I don't want to assume because you said it more than once that men are not designed to be monogamous. When you used the word men, were you referring to the male gender or
The male
mankind?
species. The male species. That's why. Like I said, we
What's
can
the male
make kids.
species? No.
Oh,
What's the male
protect,
species?
provide, and procreate.
Okay, so let me be very
We forget
clear.
that sometimes.
Hold on. Let me be very clear what I'm asking you. When you said men are not meant to be monogamous, you are talking about males who are born with penises. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. So I will challenge you that mankind, not just people with penises, are not designed to be monogamous. Mammals in general are not designed to be monogamous.
Yeah, but see, we can make kids day after day. Y'all out for 9 months.
Sweetheart, women can have babies well into their 50s.
No, I'm not saying
So
that. No, I'm saying it takes you 9 months to make that baby. What I'm saying is we
so
can go
what?
we can
What does
go
that have
boom,
to
boom,
do?
boom, boom, boom. You know what
But
I'm
what
saying?
does that have to do with monogamy? That has nothing to do with monogamy. Just because we
Because
have a
as a
longer
species,
just
as a species.
no. That has nothing to do with monogamy. Do you know what monogamy is? Because
One
monogamy has
person.
nothing to do with, yeah, that means just because one person. Do you know that a woman can have sex with another man and be pregnant with another man's baby?
Yeah, because
Yes.
she can't get pregnant again.
But that has nothing to do with monogamy. How many times do you have sex and not get pregnant? Pregnancy is not the barometer for monogamy.
My bad.
Hello?
I'm just going on the way the genetically the way we are designed. So hey, it is what it is. Like I said, we're men provide, protect, procreate. Hey, sorry, take it up with the father. Hey, now
Well,
we can
there's
learn to
nothing
be
to take up.
monogamous. We can learn
There's
to be
nothing to take
monogamous.
up. I
That's
just
what we
want you
gotta
to, I
do.
want you to, I just want you to be very clear because what it sounds like to me is that you don't have a good understanding of what monogamy is because you're tying it to procreation and it has nothing to do with that. Monogamy defined is being with one person. So nobody is, unless you have only had sex with one person in your life, you're not designed to be monogamous and you haven't been monogamous
But like
because
Krishan said before,
monogamous means one.
But like Kashawn said, it is possible for us to love multiple people at one time. But see, as women, y'all can't love multiple people. Y'all can love one more than others, but y'all can't love multiple people the same way.
What? Oh my
Y'all can't
God.
love. Y'all can't love. That's why
Coach
we love
Sean.
Oscars.
Coach Sean.
Yes.
Coach Sean.
Yes. I invite all views and opinions. Liz, hello and welcome. Please join in.
Hello,
I'm
hello.
reading your comment. I see Liz asked the same question that Tavana asked, and I'm assuming that's to Jermaine. Liz asked, what does the ability to procreate have to do with monogamy?
The answer is nothing.
Nothing.
Liz, what do you have
I
to
But
wouldn't
say or
argue that
ask?
point.
Well, he just answered the question. Nothing. That was my answer.
I wouldn't argue
Nothing.
that point. That wasn't the point I was arguing.
Oh,
but it
Well,
was.
that
Are you
sounded.
listening to yourself?
Monogamy is learned behavior. Now, that's true. We all know that.
you agree?
But what I'm saying is, men have the ability. Yeah, we can love multiple women equally. That's just we are. Y'all are y'all will get more emotionally involved in a person than we will.
Well, I'll say
It's
this,
just, it's
Jermaine.
just.
Hold on. Let me interact for a second. I don't want to get too far off. I'll say this, Jermaine. The purpose, and this entire cast is for women to get a male's perspective and not make assumptions or go by things that are based on what women tell them, right? And I think we all agree that we all have grown in some way and have discovered things, and women give them feedback. So with that being said, I think that it's only fair to us and to them because like Ms. Jackson just pointed out, one thing that you stated, multiple women have already said that's not true, right? And the fact that they're women and we're not, I think is fair and wise to let them have that response because you're like,
I wasn't assuming. I wasn't assuming. I
no,
know
but
what
you're
they
saying
said.
women can't love multiple men or things like that.
Okay, let me correct. It's
Okay.
more. It's highly unlikely proportionally, but it does happen. Okay. All
Well,
right.
I think
Hey,
that's fair.
what women you done encounter, man?
Oh,
Man,
these
my
things
baby
are
girl,
different.
But listen, those that asked the question, Tank. Jeez.
What?
my baby
Because,
girlfriend was
hey,
married
I'll
with
say
me.
this, Jermaine, you've been around some unique women. I'll put it that way. And that's what it is. But remember the difference between anecdotal and things that have been either researched or proven or, and I respect that.
Yeah.
And I will say that you've been around some great women. I've seen I've seen some things happen, Bo. I've seen some things in my life, and I just think that
You
it's
and
a
I
part of
both
human
know that.
nature. Yeah, it's
That's
a part
fair.
of human nature. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think it makes a person a bad person. If a woman is married and she's attracted to someone for whatever reason, or she has an encounter with someone for whatever reason, I honestly don't think that she's a bad person unless she cheated on me. But
Well, let me apologize to the women if they felt I was trying to speak for them. I'm sorry.
no, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Man, this time is flying. It's already we're at the 6 o'clock mark. I wanna get some feedback. Anthony, I know you're here with us. And I want you to chime in, please, sir. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing?
All right, all right.
All right. All right. So I'm gonna touch on a couple what I've been hearing. Um, I'm gonna touch on that first one the recent one that they were talking about. And I'm gonna tell you the reason why I feel that way. I was told by my grandmother. It was like when it comes between a man and a woman, like this, just say you get married. The reason why I feel like men and women love different is because my grandmother always said, she said, you, when you got married, you weren't necessarily her first choice, but you were her best choice. And and she's going to always,
Ooh,
it's
that's a
going
good
to be
one.
when it comes to a woman, she's always going to, it's somebody from her past that she always going to have ties with. Now, she may not be communicating with him every day, but that's an attachment to her, to herself. She's going to be attached to that person for the rest of their life. That's not saying that, anything is going on, but that attachment will be there. Men not going to do that. Men, if whether you've been done wrong or the relationship went right and it just didn't work out, that man's gonna move on. He's not gonna have that attachment with them no more. It's gonna be gone. And now if you see him, it'll be like, hey, how you doing? But it's not gonna be that type of attachment. I wanted to say that. Also,
Right. Well, Flo, can I say thank you for articulating what I was trying to say? 'Cause I wasn't doing a good job of, so I appreciate that.
you good, bro. Also, also, I want to say, going back to the topic of why will men or be upset if a woman brings up like what she like, what she don't like. I always tie that to, and when you're younger, I know my younger me wasn't as open as my older me, so it comes with experiences and time.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
It takes us a little longer.
what guys and women have to do, like from the beginning, like you have to create a safe space. Like, so you can't be like, oh, if I lead with this question, oh, she gonna think all I just want is one thing. Same thing with a woman. Like if you create a safe space and be like, you know what, baby, I'm not judging you. I don't speak you. And see, and a lot of people don't do that. And then sometimes when they do hear that, you don't believe them, but you got to know the type of person that you're dealing with. So if you create that safe space with that person, nobody should have, be like, oh, he got preconceived notions. Like he just want that or she just want that. Just be open, talk about it, be like, look at here, you know what? As the guy, as me coming, I don't have any expectations. We just met each other. I don't have any expectations of you. So this is a safe place for you. So we can talk about anything. Now, when we get to the point that where we decide whether we gonna deal with each other or not, that those conversations that y'all had should make everything flow a little bit more easy. See what I'm saying? But you have to create that safe space. But a lot of people just not doing that because some guys, men will be like, hey, she think I may just want that if I bring up sex early, or if you ask anything, any kind of questions that maybe somebody may be prying, they think that you're prying, you're trying to get something out of them. Like I said, if you create that safe space, you can get past all of that. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, I think that's what I want. I think that's all I wanted to touch on. If something else come back, I'm gonna chime in.
Please do.
Right. I think we hit on that one a couple of weeks ago, Coach Sean. Ladies need to create a safe space for their man to be able to communicate. There's a fear factor. Like I always say, man, try to talk about things, and what women sometimes women throw it up in a man's face. Or you said this, you said that, or because he brings up something and it's not a safe space for him, then there's an issue. But as long as these ladies continue to create a safe space for their man, that communication will be a whole lot better, a lot more open.
And besides, we don't remember things. We don't remember things as well as they do either. So
You got to use that technology, man. You better text it to yourself, shoot some notes. You
you say you need a paper trail.
You need something if you can't remember.
Yeah, I know. I got you. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, man.
Hey, I want to say another thing too.
Yes, sir.
That we was talking about earlier. Like when it comes to one of the main differences between men and women, it's just like I say, it's just my opinion. See, we are creatures of habit. We do the same. Like whenever you talk about like how a guy he's not open enough, or I saw some of the comments when he said, well, I told him he still didn't do it. Like it goes back to the level of comfortableness that you create for that man to come outside of his box. Because if you don't create that safe space for him to come outside that box, he's gonna continue to do the same thing. If you don't put no boundaries with it, they're gonna continue to do those same things. But if that woman creates that very safe place for that man to come outside that box and know that he's not being judged and know that he don't have anything to worry about, he'll come outside of that box and do anything that you ask him to do. As long as you have as long as y'all on the same mental, he'll do anything. He'll do anything for you. Now, I feel like women are not creatures of habit. Like they can change. So you may have, when you first meet your woman, she may not have had certain said things on her mind or that she would try, but then she may come out to you later and be like, you know what? I may be willing to try that. Or I remember you mentioning something before. I may try that for you. So women can change up, but men typically don't change up because we're creatures of habit, and we'll stay inside that box until we're either comfortable to come outside that box or we're challenged to come outside that box. But the challenge got to be worth it, though.
Yeah, but look, but also too, us as men, what we do, and this is a major mistake most of us make. We don't get the message until they pull the sex, but not realizing once they pull the sex, the damage is done, and that's on us.
I'm sorry, I muted my phone so you all could talk. We had we have so many questions that was sent in today, you know, and you're doing a good job at that. So one other, let's see, where did she go? Where did she go? Okay. Another question that we had is, how long are you willing to date before you decide it's time to get married? Why do men feel it's okay to hurt a woman and not apologize? That was one. And let's see. We have another question that was sent to us. Are men, oh, that's a good one, guys, for you all. Are men okay with dating a woman who is also dating multiple men? I want you all to give that one some thought. You can reply if you're ready.
Now,
Yeah, they say, are men okay with dating a woman who is also dating multiple men?
aren't we doing that now in the dating world?
Are you okay with it?
Hey,
No,
but I don't know even on my business.
No, no, no. I mean, we mean knowingly that you know that she's dating multiple men. Are you okay with dating a woman who is also dating multiple men?
Well, she has every right to. No, I don't like it, but that's all
listen,
right.
Okay, Terry, what do you have to say?
no. And I say no because women who's dating other men, most men won't date you. They would communicate and be intimate with you, but they will not date you when you're dating other men. That's my opinion.
So Sean, can in that
Not a
question, can
man
you
that's going to take you
define
serious.
dating in that question?
That
I think it's important to define the word dating in that question.
I would have to reach out to the young lady that sent that question in. Hopefully she's
Because
listening. Right.
I think the word dating has so many different perspectives, you know what I mean? And so if one person is thinking that it's this and another person is thinking that it's that, that would sway the answer to that question. So I think it's important to figure out what that person meant by the word dating.
Dating, in my opinion, dating is spending time with someone. I won't even say the opposite sex, just spending time with someone, trying to get to know them better in pursuance of a relationship. Or so if a man is into that woman and she's dating someone else, he's probably not going to date her. He's not going to spend that kind of time with her. He will communicate, he'll roll through, he'll smash, but he is not going to date her when she's spending her time with another man. Now, if you find a man that is willing to date a woman when she's dating other men, that's a poly relationship, I guess.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, man.
But dating,
You're playing, man.
but so it. Flo just put it in the chat. She said, "Let's break it down. Change dating to having sex or spending time." So that because all of that is totally different, right? Because you can date and there
Good separation.
you can.
Oh, excuse me.
I don't. I guess I'm just not understanding. I would love to understand what specifically they're asking. You know what I'm saying? Because you can date. You can go on.
Okay, she responded. She's listening live and she said multiple sexual partners. She said, what about just having sex? You're dating a person, you all are having sex.
That's not dating.
That's not that. Yeah.
That's not dating. That's that's out here just doing what you. That ain't dating.
That's a beneficial friendship.
It ain't even that. It's just smashing. That's it. There's no title for that. It's just you out here. Basically, the question,
Okay, that's what it says. She
would
said
you
not
be
dating.
willing to?
She said not
Right.
dating. What
Would you be
about?
willing to sleep with someone who is sleeping with other people? So is that the question?
Yes.
A
Yep.
man would sleep with someone who is sleeping with other people. He'll just take precautions knowing what she's doing. But a man will not date a woman who is dating other men.
Not seriously.
You're wrong, man.
Not seriously. Like I said, he might roll through, but he's not going to spend that kind of time.
Okay, so let's answer the question because we've taken dating off the table. The question is, would
She's
you?
having, if I'm spending time with a woman, she's spending time with me. That's it. Nothing more.
But she clarified the
If he's,
question. She wanted to
if he's,
know would a man sleep with a woman who is sleeping with multiple people. So she used the
yeah,
word dating probably to make it
yeah,
sound pretty, but dating is
yeah.
not what she was really asking. So
Okay, yeah.
right.
He'll sleep. Yeah, a man will sleep with a woman who's sleeping with other people. Like I say, he's going to take precautions knowing that she's sleeping with other men, but he's not going to take her serious, especially at this age. We men, when we're attached to a woman, we want to be attached to a woman that we know we're going to be able to build with and bond with.
But
If
what if
she's
there's somebody
bonding,
you just chopping? You all just cutting.
and we just cutting.
And we know it.
So right, but if you're doing that,
There's no commitment.
okay, so that's what they want to know. If you're only just somebody you just having fun with, do you have a problem if she's getting it from someone else as well?
It's, it's
Okay. Other guys, how do you all feel about that?
I agree. We just wrap it up, but come on now. Ain't no energies out here.
Okay. What about them? Do you know if y'all do that stuff that them young boys do now? Them young boys sticking their tongue in the girl butt and all that stuff. Y'all gonna still do it?
Now that's between them. That's between
What?
them. That's between them.
I'm just
I
asking.
can't co-sign. I can't co-sign that one, bro.
I hear a lot of
Sean, you
things
just took it way too.
at the barbershop. Y'all know I own a barbershop, right? Y'all know I own a barbershop. You hear everything in the
Co-sign.
barbershop. No, I'm just
He
asking if
did.
y'all
This
gonna
is
still
what
do
happens when he doesn't have any sort of
all that stuff.
vision.
Doing that stuff that young boys do. No, but on a serious note, we had so many questions that were brought up this week, which is good. So the ladies, men, I like to say that the women are respecting your transparency, your honesty, right? A lot of them are saying that they enjoy the show. You know, they've learned a lot. You know, they've been enlightened by the perspective of men and seeing how different our responses are than the things that they've heard from other women. That's the reason, Jermaine, I like your perspective too. You get to stir the pot, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to respect when the women are all saying something and hey, this is what it is.
I'm learning like everybody else.
Right. I do as well. This is another question that was asked. Can you share a significant life experience that shaped who you are today? This one was sent to men. Can you share a significant life experience that shaped who you are today? Now I'd like to give you all an opportunity to go before I chime in.
I guess I'll go first. I guess it's a typical relationship thing. I was madly in love with the woman. She was my wife, and she cheated with a family member.
How did that affect you?
It was a mental thing. It was a mental thing. To this day, I needed to open my mind more, and I don't know. I'm not as off or as I don't know. I can't be passionate about relationships. I'm just not as soft. I'm more open and more honest. And at this point, I don't care if it hurts the woman that I'm talking to. I just need to be honest. They say the truth hurts sometimes, and I give it raw. So I don't sugarcoat anything anymore. So I'm just being honest about
What is the
everything.
relationship like between you and that family member now?
Not like it used to be.
Okay.
Not like it used to be.
Okay.
I would blame him and I would blame her. You know, they both haven't spoken about it to me, but someone else.
So do you know that is true?
Like I said, neither one of them spoke to me. I confronted them.
Right,
I
right.
confronted both of them. No one spoke on them.
Okay, okay. More
If
authentically
it, if
wrong.
it, if it was, then, imagine they would say, nah, man, that ain't true. What are you talking about? Who said that? I need to confront that person, yada, yada, yada. But guess what? No one ever said anything.
Right, right. Okay, okay.
They say silence gives consent.
Uh, I can't comment on that. I guess in some instances, I don't know the situation. People, to say what that means, but that's, man, that one took me by surprise. Anyone else want to share?
A question, but I had a question
Go
for
ahead.
Terry before you move on to the next one. Terry, are you still married to her? You say you still in a relationship with the family member,
Oh,
but are you still married to
no.
her? Hmm. So are you divorced?
Oh, no, definitely family
Was that
member. I'm going to see him around.
okay? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, who else, guys? I'm giving you all this opportunity.
Well, my situation, Coach Sean, you probably already know, like, my situation was when I was in Iraq and I had a friend that died and I didn't. I came back depressed to the point where I figured I should have died with him. So I came back guilty,
That's
depressed,
survivor's guilt.
and then a situation happened that should have killed me and it didn't. So I started looking at life in a different perspective. And also I took counsel from a lot of people around me. I had to open
Mm.
my eyes because I was emotionally numb. So it's like I didn't feel nothing, hey or nay. So people, it took people investing in me and having faith in me when I didn't have faith in myself. It kind of gives me a wider perspective on things now. I don't take things so seriously.
Well, goes anybody else? Y'all making me change my response and reevaluate my experiences, because I was thinking, well, everybody's life experience is different. So anybody else wants to share? We got Tank, Damon.
Okay, what's the question?
The question was, I think Tamika typed it in the comment section, but we got a lot of comments since then. It says, can you share a significant life experience that shaped who you are today? And Jermaine, yeah, survivor's remorse, that survivor's guilt. And they're saying sorry you experienced that, Jermaine.
No, not in a way. Like Jermaine said, how you emotional numb. I didn't experience that firsthand, but from being deployed and being in Iraq and being in an environment where, any given second your life can be gone, I'm not moved by a lot of stuff, a lot of situations.
Yeah.
It caused me issues in my relationships because they be like, oh, you got no feelings. Are you numb? Or this ain't a big deal to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Cause you've seen the worst of humanity.
yeah. Like I made a post, I shared a post, matter of fact, I'm gonna read to you. I shared a post on my Instagram and Facebook, and I know a lot of you males can relate to it as well. It says, once a man go through the darkest times alone, he don't give a beat who leaves. And that's how I am with life. Like, if you want to leave, go ahead and leave. It's cool.
Yep. I'm a big boy. I ain't gonna cry.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I cried like once, but hey, I get over it.
We do
Man,
that every now and then. Just say he was cutting onions that day.
I got to think on this one. A life experience that kind of,
Coach Sean, I think you should just go ahead and share your original thought, please.
well, my original thought, it shaped, but I had to reshape, right? So a life experience. And when I was young, my dad used to run women. That's what he did, day in, day out. That's all I saw. So I thought that was normal. And, and when I mean run women, like I would literally get up in the mornings. I had a lot of freedom with him and I would go in the room, to try to get a couple of dollars before I go outside or whatever, but just let him know, hey, I'm leaving. And I would see at least one woman in his bed every morning. I've seen as many as three in his bed at a time. And that became normal. So growing up, like I said, in high school, and it wasn't like sex involved, but through middle school and high school for me, I always felt like you were supposed to have multiple women. So growing up, I've always had multiple girlfriends. I mean, like 3, sometimes 5 at a time. And I was really like, these are my girlfriends. I was in love. And I think that experience and what I saw growing up shaped it. And they got along. Obviously, if you're going to lay in a bed naked with a man with 2 other women, it wasn't an issue to them. And these women would come back to the house individually, take us to games, cook, clean. It was like one big happy family. And that's what I saw at a very young age, elementary school, growing up. So I really thought that was normal. And then as I grew older, I lived with my aunt and uncle. They were married, and my aunt got on me one day. She said, "Look here, I'm tired of all these," she called them chilling, but girls calling her house. And she had a notebook by the telephone. Everybody had that phone on the wall in the kitchen. She had a notebook that she wrote the names down of girls that would call me. And I'm like, "Nah, we just cool. She said, "I don't want to hear all that. It's going to be, I mean, you can talk to people as friends, but only one person will come to this house to see you. So you have to decide." So when we talk about that monogamy being learned or trained, conditioned, I was forced into it. And of course, my mom being, divorced and dealing with, my dad cheating and all that stuff, she definitely wasn't going for that. One person and one person only. That's it. So I think over time, I had to start thinking about it from a different perspective, right? And I will say this, when I did, get into serious relationships, it's like bothered you more when that person cheated or didn't do what they were supposed to do. When I had multiple girlfriends, it'd be like, "Yo, man, she did X, Y, Z. All right, cool. Team went down from 5 to 4 and keep it moving, or I'll recruit a replacement," and kept it going that way. But that was my experience that kind of molded who I was and why I view things from a different perspective.
Coach Sean, you my man. You know that?
Hey, that was life for me,
I,
man. And that's some,
I was talking earlier. Like I said, I was having technical difficulties because I was kind of moving around. But that's,
Mhm.
I was saying that same thing that, men want to love more than, most men want to love more than one woman. But the woman that they're with always says that, she wants to have her man to herself. So men put themselves in a box to be with that one woman.
Right.
It normally creates a problem because they tend to men tend to go on the side and do other things on the side where where supposedly unseen. You understand what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I
And
I I understand what you say. I agree with what you say.
so I had to learn also, like different factors contribute to that, because at one time, I was into the church and the Bible and all that stuff. So, like, hey, nobody's perfect. And it's like we all have boxes. I think that we all, men and women, have boxes, and they want to, which guy checks the most boxes, which women can check the most boxes, right? And I realized that, nobody's perfect and you will not find a perfect person and all this stuff. So then as I matured and things changed with me, I got older. I gained weight. I'm fat, losing my hairline and everything else. So if I want somebody to basically, I wouldn't say lower standard, but accept me, right? eh, Then I had to start accepting different things. So now you think about, well, what's most important? You know, when you get older, when you start having children, it's like, well, what's most important? And because now it's like, okay, if you're going to be with one person and nobody's perfect, then what are the top 3 characteristics that I want for someone that I can spend forever with? You know, and I don't know which one of y'all want to give y'all credit when I look back through it, but you all made a good point that marriage doesn't stop a person from looking or, curious things like that. But when you make a commitment, it's like, you know what? This person stimulates me. This person satisfies me, and this person supports me. Those were three important things, right? So if you can stimulate me, I'm a nerd. Like literally, if I want to be in the house one day and let's see how long it takes for ice to melt at a certain temperature and what it does to the level of water in the cup, some crazy stuff. I want you to get the cup and ice with me, right? We can engage in things. You can stimulate what I have going on. You satisfy my emotional, mental, and physical desires, right? So I'm stimulated when I'm with you. Are you going to support me? I might have an idea. I might be like, you know what? I want to quit my job, man. I'm going to pull this money out of my 401k and start a business. And if you're like, look, let's get a plan first and what's going to be our backup, I agree, but can you support me? And like those are like the major factors, right? So if a person can meet the major three requirements, man, I don't care about all the other stuff because, like all that body and eyelashes and the weave and all that foolishness. Because heck, most times when you're being intimate is in the dark anyway, so you can't see that stuff. And our body parts all change as we get older and we grow together. So all that.
And well, Coach Sean,
Go
hey,
ahead.
Coach Sean,
Yes,
I
sir.
think I was joking with somebody when I said do you know how you can fix the black community? Till men stop choosing based on looks and women stop choosing based on feelings, and everything will be all right.
Yeah, I think once you reach a certain age, man, like that look stuff, you'll
Yeah, looks
understand.
and feelings change.
And after a few heartbreaks, you'll be like, you know what? I got some partners, man. They say straight up, man, one of my own boys, he said, never date another pretty woman.
I can understand that sentiment.
He said they draw too much attention for him, and all the ones he's been with, they're no good.
Yeah,
Like,
because
it's his personal opinion.
they think they got options. Pretty privilege is a real thing.
Right, right, right. You know?
So I guess I'm probably the only one that hadn't answered the question yet.
Yes, sir.
And sitting here talking to you guys or listening to you guys answer all of the questions, a lot of our answers are very similar. Me being in military as well, I would say the one significant thing that happened in my entire life that made me change was I had an Achilles injury right before I went to my, the last course of my military career, which is the one we all, on the enlisted side strive to get to, right? And so I was never injured my entire career. So I went 21 years without an injury. And when I finally made it to where I was working toward I injured my Achilles tendon. And without your Achilles tendon, you can't do nothing. And so I was always able to out physical my intellectual weaknesses or my interpersonal skills were not as strong as they should have been because I could out physical my contemporaries. And so in the military, in the branch of service I was in, if you are physically fit, you look like a soldier, you act like a soldier, you can make it, right?
You squared away.
And right. But the part of a soldier that a lot of people overlook is the intellectual, interpersonal ability to analyze things. We leave that for our officer counterpart, right? So I was able to, before I retired, hone in on my skills as an intellectual, interpersonal, which assisted me on the outside of the military. Because in my job now, they don't care how fast I can run 2 miles. They don't care how fast I could ruck a 60-pound ruck. They don't care how many people I could pick up and throw over my shoulders and get them off of the battlefield. So that injury allowed me to figure out a way to still be a stellar non-commissioned officer, stellar person, although I didn't have my physical capabilities anymore. So that changed my life. And if I'd waited until I retired to try to become more interpersonal, become more intellectual, have patience, listen to people, and if I'd waited until I retired to do that, my transition would have been a whole lot more difficult. And I don't know where I would be right now.
Mm.
Amen, brother.
That's good stuff, man. That's serious. You didn't, you were put in a position where you had to use your intellect.
That's God.
And for those of you that don't know, Damon is low Hulk Hogan. So when he talked about his physical, you know what I'm saying? I can see that, and you don't want it to be like that's all you're known for. You know what I'm saying? That's something.
Yeah. And
That's well said.
it also allows you to show your subordinates humility. And that when I was able to show my subordinates a little humility, I got more of a response from them.
Mm,
I think I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. Nobody's going to Superman and telling them their knee hurt.
mm.
True. I feel you, man. Because as an NCO, I prefer to not lead by fear, because you lead by fear, you're gonna get just enough. So yeah, you had to be personable with your subordinate to get stuff done. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that, man.
I don't know all this military talk y'all got going on now.
Yeah, I try not to do that. I try to kind of explain things a little bit differently.
Right.
It's hard when you got, especially when you go, yeah, 3 people in there. Yeah, it's kind of hard to start
Yeah,
talking
I
like
know.
that.
I
And then,
know. You got all these military vets in here, and
Yeah, but them boys use their body. I use their brain.
You had me trying to remember the NCO creed up in here.
oh, Damon trying to trip. Well, Tank trying to trip on y'all. Tank, so what you were Air Force?
No, I was Army, man.
No, I'm saying Tank. Tank was Air Force. You ain't catch that one. He told me y'all use your body while he was using his brain.
I know. My Army Air
Really?
Force. They say the same thing.
But I ain't calling y'all dumb, man. 'Cause by law, I know y'all ain't dumb. Just by listening to y'all, I know neither one of y'all are dumb at all.
Oh, you got
I,
actually 4 people. Terry's military also.
I was an athlete. I prefer to be down in the trenches.
Mm,
but just like I tell my brothers who do a lot of physical work now, when you get 50 years old, brother, you ain't going to want to be doing that.
right.
So at some point in your life, you're going to have to start transitioning. And I was made to take a knee, because you know how we go. We hard headed. We do what we know how to do, or we know what we get comfortable doing. So I was forced to take a knee and learn another way.
So that's something that changed your life. All right. Who else? Who has not shared an experience that changed your life? Man, now I feel so shallow with my experience, man.
That's your experience, brother.
Right. I'm just tripping. I'm tripping. Y'all got y'all, things that changed your life or affected you and kind of molded and made you who you are today. So this is good. I have a question for the men. These things that you shared today, how many of you have shared them with your significant other?
All of them. And,
Yep.
and that's why it don't work. Like, yo, you numb. You don't got no feelings.
Yep.
Mm.
My sister still waiting for me to grieve my mama's death, but I'll get around to it.
Oh man. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, I know. She said the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I lost my mother as well.
That's how bad I got. That's how bad I got, though. That's the thing. I'm shaky. I don't
Yeah,
like being
man.
that way.
If you lost a close friend and lost your mom, you know, that's a lot. That's a lot to deal with. Hold on. Somebody got some background noise.
I ain't lying. Somebody got it going. Somebody getting
Oh, that was Terry. I muted it, Terry. You had some stuff going on. Oh, Anthony's
It's been
military
a while.
also?
It's been a while since we heard from the females. I'd like to know what they're getting from this.
Liz, Tavana.
It's interesting and insightful, but I'll be honest, for me, it's nothing really new. I've always had a good relationship with males in my life.
close male cousins. My father and I have a good relationship. So a lot of this I've already been told and have been able to see for myself. What is refreshing though is the honesty surrounding the hurt that you all have experienced at the hands of females, because I do think oftentimes we do look at men as these unfeeling beings who don't get hurt and who don't have heartache and heartbreak. And so it is refreshing to hear that you all do experience and have experienced these things. So that's kind of what I've gotten.
Thank you.
That
Thank you.
emotional availability. Men are being emotionally available.
I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys being open, because a lot of what we've been doing for the last 3 months on this podcast has centered around communication, males with their emotional availability. And so I think these stories that we heard today show that level of emotional availability, because prayerfully you guys feel like we created this safe space for you guys to be able to share that. So we appreciate you doing so.
Terry, Damon, you got your response.
Yeah, I sure did, man. And that's cool. And she did say something that's really important. This is I think my third time tuning in. I missed last week with travel, but I think the space is definitely a safe one. We've grown to know each other a little bit better, and yeah, and these types of conversations really do paint a more clearer picture of who you're communicating with. Right. So I think that was cool.
Absolutely. I think, when we're answering questions and things like that, and we're going back and forth about what we agree or disagree, that's one thing. But to know that at the end of that, like I said, this is a safe space to give these things. And I think it's amazing that you guys share those things, because, again, some women some women listeners may have never experienced listening to a man be that vulnerable and be able to and on that their situations the way that you guys articulated. So again, like I said, that was major, and we appreciate y'all sharing that with us.
Right. And then there not being any judgment behind it either. Like, you know, you can speak in the manner and be honest about, how you feel, how what you went through. And I mean, I can't say that there's not people, women that may be in the room that may not be judging, but for the most part, as far as I can see, I don't see that there's any judgment behind it, as there should not be. Since we are here to really gain you guys' perspective, we would hope that you can be open and honest. And just like Savannah said, like, as long as we create that safe space, then there should be no issues being able to do so. And we thank y'all for really being open with us the way y'all are. I've learned a lot, honestly.
I thank you all for being
I've learned a lot.
Thank you all for that, ladies. But fellas, I got to remind y'all that this is going to be public all over the internet. But honestly, I think these guys really don't care about that. And I thank you all again for sharing your experiences. That was a really good question by the caller that sent that in. Yeah, you and ladies, you all have been coming up with some really, really, really thought-provoking, intriguing questions. And thank you for that. And that's the purpose of the show, because we want you all to, get a male's perspective. What do men think? And as we all know that sometimes we think something, but it's best to find out. And I've always believed, and I think that this show itself would be a little proof when I talked about earlier from the very first question that Flo asked. And I said, I've always been the person that believed in asking, like just coming straight out and asking. But some people didn't receive that well. They're like, oh man, I just met you and you're already asking this, or you're already talking about this. So communication is very, very, very important. And let's continue providing that safe space for each other and for others. Because we're getting more and more questions each day, and everyone doesn't like to be under the spotlight. So, I respect that. And I like the ones that are typing things in and not having a voice heard. Jermaine, go ahead.
Oh, well, I just say I do appreciate the safe space. I'll be honest with you. Some of the stuff you're not gonna get out of me unless you ask, and I'm not volunteering it. Like I said, I know I need help. I know I need help being softer.
Can I
Man.
say something real quick too, though?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is just something that you like, Coach Sean, like before I even started, coming on the podcast, you had said something to me. And as a woman, sometimes you don't realize like how quick and how often you can do things. But you had mentioned to me like how sometimes, women, like the point of the show is to get a man's perspective. And sometimes women will rather combat what you guys are saying versus just really getting that perspective. And so just in the course of these few weeks that I have been like in here, though I do ask my questions, there have been certain moments where I've actually checked myself, like where I've unmuted myself and got ready to like be like, hold on, let me respond and say something, but then take a step back and really think like, this is exactly what he means though. Like, it's just
Right.
taking the time to listen, right? And just take in the perspective that you're getting versus wanting to respond. So that is one of the most like pertinent ways that I have really learned from this podcast. I will say that.
Well, I really thank you. And that was the purpose. So I will say this. We lost a couple of listeners, right? Which is expected. They were upset and they want to say, no, that's not the case, XYZ. After hearing responses from several men, they don't want to accept it. They just feel like what they've been told or what they thought all these years is right. And that's the gospel. And they don't want to hear that mess. And which is perfectly okay with me. My job is to reach the ones that are here and willing, like I am. Go ahead.
It cold.
Yeah.
Just saying, as men though, what we did, those couple people you're talking about, as men, we do got to realize people like that are in the minority.
Oh yeah, it doesn't stop anything. And
Oh,
their experiences mold them just like we shared our experiences, right? Their experiences have molded them, who they are, their thought processes and their character. And that's just
And I
something that
will
you have to
say this.
accept.
Like I will say this, like before, if like me being in the place I am in my life now, right? I am able to hear these things and like change my perspective on how I look at things and how I thought maybe men looked at things. Whereas had I been listening to this podcast maybe 4 to 7 years ago or, a couple of years back,
Hmm.
I would probably be one of those people who would not listen, who would have left. He would have lost a member. You get what I'm saying?
Right,
So it
right.
really depends on what space you are in as a person, like mentally, all around. If you're able to be open enough to hear what is being said and what is, being relayed in you guys' messages to us.
Yeah, some people
But
do have that level of maturity and they just feel like this is what it is. This is what I've been told for X number of years. So this has to be it.
you be learning to the day you die.
Right.
let me say, can I say something?
Yes,
Some
sir.
people, some people come in because they want to hear people that think just
Like
like them.
them.
They want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear somebody else's opinion or somebody else's point of view. They want to hear what's already in their head. They want assurance.
You won't grow that way.
Correct.
Right. And I think it's very important for the listeners to understand how this all came to be in the concept, right? And that Koshan had this vision and I would just be transparent, like he and I go back and forth every week because I feel like we gotta let the men talk, right? Because it was getting to a point where it was more of what he was just saying, women jumping in, you know what I'm saying? And we weren't thinking to what this was supposed to be about, was men giving their perspective. And it's all subjective, right? We understand it's everyone's opinion. The women are here to give these follow-ups, to give a little bit, some more depth to the questions, give follow-up. But we really, really, really want this to be a space where men can try and give the perspective to women that some women may not ever get, right? They can tune in here and listen to what men are saying, thinking, because like Coach Sean says all the time, most of the time women aren't talking to men, they're talking to their friends, other females. So you're not getting a male's perspective. You're sitting around with your girlfriends and y'all just talking. But this is supposed to be a space where women can call in, listen, get a male perspective. Males can come in, chime in as well, because it also, I think, would give the men another level of support, to be able to have a space to go where they can relate and their feelings are relatable because there's another man saying what they may be thinking.
Right. You nailed it 100%.
Yeah, I agree, Tavana.
And ladies, if we're not available and y'all want a man's perspective, you can get Tavana's number because she,
All right. So we have that. I'm gonna just put it out there because we did throw around picking out a week to flip it to where the women do get to, the guys can ask us, right? Because yes, it is for the guys to give their perspective, but because the ladies are tuning in too, it's not gonna take it over, but just maybe a week that we'll, take and we'll flip it and put the ladies in the hot seat, and so that we're able to give our perspective. But Coach Sean is going to have the entire world of people that do not even know me trying to figure out why I'm a man. So please stop saying that.
hey, they know we have some callers, but I do appreciate that. Honestly, your perspective, I really do appreciate your perspective, and all of our callers. And Liz is here, Nikki is here, and we have some representation from all over. Of course, Nikki Charleston, that's my classmate, my sister. Liz is representing the ATL Shawty.
Know it.
And she's proud of that too. And again, okay, Tavon, you have your link in. I want to make sure everyone has that because we have some representation here as well. I want to get back to, man, this time goes by so fast, y'all. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. We have literally 9 minutes left.
I want to say I put a link in the thread up there. The link is to a book. The book is called Sex at Dawn. It's a really good book, and it kind of explains our origin. And when we were talking about monogamy,
Mm-hmm.
I think that y'all get that book and read it. It'll kind of clear up a lot of things. And I'll paste it again, so it'll be near the bottom. But take a listen to that book, or if you like to read the book. But I listen. I got a 30-minute commute every day, so
Yeah,
that's it.
that's therapeutic when you can do that. Man, these were some good questions. And one other question, I don't know if I addressed this, but this was a question I was asked, was why is it so easy for men to make families then walk away physically, mentally, and emotionally?
Let me go.
Give that one some, whoever wants to address that. Why
Okay.
is it so easy for men to make families then walk away physically, mentally, and emotionally?
I plead the fifth.
Most times men don't walk away from the family. They walk away from the relationship with the woman. But the women will make it as though, oh, you left your family. No, he left you. Cause I'm guilty of it myself. Fact. So we don't leave our kids. We walk away from the woman in that relationship.
Mm. Anyone else care to chime in?
We just want to hear the same statement again because he nailed it.
He sure did nail it. And because I've seen women do it. So, he's not lying about that.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause
most women are bitter once a man leaves and will make it like it's about the family, and it's not. Like, if you can individualize that man in that relationship, then you can understand that he still has a family. It just don't include being
You
with you.
right.
In many instances, they weren't families to begin with. In
And a lot.
today's society, a lot of children come into this world in platonic relationships. These aren't people who are committed to each other and are building together and then they decide to have a child. No, a lot of times these people are getting pregnant. Shouldn't say people because women get pregnant, men don't. But people get pregnant and then they want to establish this family dynamic that was never there in the beginning. So
Correct.
I don't think they're walking away from established families. I think that they weren't families in the first place.
That's
So,
correct. That's correct.
Coach Sean, you said don't talk about personal instances.
I mean, that's your case, but just when the other person not here to defend themselves.
No, ain't
I
about
think we
defending
about to
themselves.
shut off, guys.
So
We have about
yeah,
6 minutes.
so
Hmm.
I have some children. In one of the cases, I was me and this young lady we made a child together. So I like, you know what, it's my child. Let's try to do a family thing, whatever. She said no. All right, cool. Once you said no, you don't want to be with me. All right, we good. But when I started dealing with other people, then it's an issue. Even to this day now, it's like you didn't want to be with me, but you get upset because I'm dealing with somebody else. Oh, you won't take care of your no, no. As long as I'm engaged in a horizontal activity with you, I can be a deadbeat daddy. But the moment I stop doing those things with you, I'm the worst dad in the world. But I can be a deadbeat while I'm laying with you. So I'm like, if we put the kids in the forefront and not put our personal feelings in about who that person may be dealing with, who they're talking to, co-parenting will be great. But you have to take your feelings out of that and put your focus on the kids.
Man, once you have kids, man, you don't matter no more.
Shit.
Man, please, it's about them kids, man.
Oh, no, no. It should be that way. It
Oh,
should be
okay.
that way.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I don't think you can measure my mentally or emotionally. Physically, you walk away from whatever's causing you the problem, but mentally and emotionally, take for instance, I my kids, we divorced in '06. My kids came with me, and I raised my kids until they went to college, and now one's in the military. But even to this day, sometimes I wish things would have been better or would have been different because of what's going on with my children. The whole time my children were, in college or coming home, they got a split time between me and their mom. And, I walked away from the situation, but mentally, I never walked away from that, even though, like I said, I had my kids and everything may have seemed to have been fine. Still, in the back of my mind, I still wish things could have been different.
Because you're always going to be a husband and a father, man. It's going to be in you.
So there's it should be about the husband and wife and not the kids. I remember my mom getting upset with us. Like, I talk a lot about my dad. I love being with my dad, living with my dad. That was my thing. And she asked me one day, how can I love that man so much after all he did to her? And, I sat on the bed with my mom and I told her, I said, Mom, I know what you've been through, right? But daddy cheated on you. He never cheated on me. So you can't expect me to hate him like you hate him. Yeah, I'm mad at the things he did to you, but I was 3 when y'all got divorced. So what could a 3-year-old do? And in my eyes, he was the best dad in the world. So you can separate the two. You can be a parent after a marriage ends, because, being a father and husband, completely separate things. So things happen all the time. And Liz, piggybacking on what you said, and I had to actually research this, when I was teaching, that it is especially different for African Americans, right? So our black babies, 7 out of 10 are born to single mothers. And that's very alarming that 7 out of 10 are born, to unwed mothers. I was just single because according to Tavana, if you're not married, you're single. But unwed mothers, 7 out of 10 black babies are born to unwed mothers. So a lot of times, like someone said earlier, we start out not even really being in a relationship, not a marriage per se, but whenever that situationship ends, I think sometimes the love you have for your children, people take advantage of it and take it for granted and think that you won't go somewhere. And when you finally do, they regret it. Like, okay, it's over and I cannot use these children as pawns.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm clear too and say that there's a difference too in marriage and committed relationship and my baby daddy. Those are three different things. There are some people that are committed and just aren't married. But I was a labor and delivery nurse, so I saw with my own eyes the number of women who came in there having babies by themselves with their mama and their sister by their side. A lot of them didn't even know the man's last name. I mean, and this is what I dealt with for years as a labor and delivery nurse. So I saw it. And it's sad. It really is. And then in our minds, I think we women then have children and then, have this idea of this family that we want. And we want to try to force a man to be that when it was never that in the beginning.
Well, you all, I want to thank y'all for coming in today. Listeners, guests, hosts, we reached our 2-hour mark. They give us a 2-minute grace period. So we actually have 50 seconds. If anyone wants to say anything in closing, I want to thank everybody. This is your time. We have not under 45 seconds.
I gotta take a bunch of kids to Canada tomorrow, so I'll catch y'all next week.
Okay. Hey, be safe. Be safe out there. And remember to share, and tell a friend. Please tell a friend. I know, Terry, we have a slot open for you. If you have something to say in closing, you got 20 seconds. I know you were trying to get back in. And again, thank everybody for coming out. We will see you all next week. I'm going to edit the show quickly and then